Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rewrite. This is Jolise, and I am here with a real estate extraordinaire, Bianca Roberts. We are going to talk about real estate today, how she has approached it in the most non traditional but such a modern way. We'll talk about marketing, all the great things. You guys will get to know her today. Bianca, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
This is our first time meeting, but we're definitely not strangers because we are a part of the same amazing online marketing community. You have great businesses. I have businesses I'm launching and starting. So we'll talk about all of that. First things first about real estate. Did you always want to be in the real estate market?
I was thinking about this not too long ago, and I will say that I actually kind of could say, yeah. When I was, a kid or in elementary school or whatnot, I remember we would go and look at properties when it was time to move. And I remember moving into our first house, and my mom, she made a lot of friends with real estate agents. And I kept looking at them like they are so awesome. They always had like nice cars. They always dressed real nice. They always smell real good. And I think that was planted in my head like early on. And
Hmm.
then the reason why I actually got my license was funny enough. I got laid off from the unemployment office. So even though it planted way back in the
Wow.
day, I kind of was thinking about real estate. It wasn't until I actually like lost my job and I said, well, I guess I got to go back to school or find something else to do.
Yeah.
And I worked in the downtown Houston area taking unemployment calls over the phone.
Wow.
And I was around 7 or 8 months pregnant with my first child when we got the notification that we were getting laid off. So they called us all into a meeting. It was 150 of us. And they
Wow.
said, basically, we're closing this call center down and we're going to pay you $250 if you would like to move a few hundred miles south from here. So
Mm.
$250. I was pregnant with my first child, but I was
Mhm.
married at the time, and my husband was like, "You're not about to move for $250 away from me just to keep working for this, for the state." But
Yeah.
honestly, I'll tell you, I thought I had a state job. I thought I was going to just retire from there, and I guess God had other plans. And so when I got laid off, I said, well, I guess I'll do something else. And I had always really liked real estate. So
Mhm.
I finally said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get my real estate license. And that is what I did. So I always joke around with people. I'm like, who in the heck gets laid off from the unemployment office? That would be me. So that's a long way to answer. Like, yeah, I've always liked it, but God said, okay,
Mhm.
what you about to do next, baby girl? I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Well, I guess it's getting my license." And it's been a long, long road to where I am now. I got my real estate license in 2004, so I'm coming on 19 years license, and it's been a wild ride.
Wow. 19 years you've had your license.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. It's been a long,
Mhm,
winding road to where I
mhm.
am now.
What about what you felt as far as fear, right? It exists because your way of living and it's very ironic. You know, you were working at the unemployment office and got let go from the unemployment office. And the state jobs are supposed to be cushy, they're supposed to be secure, all these things going through your mind. How did
Yeah.
you Yeah, tell me about
No,
your
I
mindset.
didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off. No, I was gonna say, yeah, I definitely was just shaking in my boots. I was really, really scared. Just to put this into perspective before I answer a little bit more about that, when they
Mhm,
gave us the notification that we were going to be laid off, they did give us a long notice. So I was
mhm,
able to go ahead and have my baby, go on maternity leave, come back, and then I got my official layoff. And it still kind of tickles me to this day because when I had to call in to file my unemployment claim over the phone, I was like coaching the person over the phone through how to do my claim because I had been doing it for a few years at that
wow.
point. And so it felt very kind of funny to me now when I look back on it. But I was scared. I went to my husband. I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to be doing now. Um,
Mhm.
it, we have a baby, we have a mortgage, we have two car notes. We had all of the things
Wow.
that, a real beginnings of a life and a young family would have. And so I was definitely scared. I did
Mhm.
not know what I was getting myself into. I'll just say after a while, my husband thought it was a hobby because I wasn't making any money from it. And this was before social media. So
Mm.
before social media, what they would tell you to market your business is put your badge on and
Mhm.
go walk down the aisles at the grocery store and see if somebody is going to, say, "Hey, are you a real estate
Yep.
agent?" You put a
Yep.
magnet on the side of your car, or you would, door knock. I never did door knocking because there wasn't no way in hell I was going to do that. But people would suggest that kind of stuff, and I try to tell people, like, think way back before social media. I think social media is a gift now for marketing, but
Mm.
there was a
Mhm.
lot of fear about how would I ever make it? How would I ever make any money? Because I spent
Mhm.
a whole year just floundering. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't doing anything. I mailed these glamour shots. If anybody can remember, is old enough to remember glamour shots, child.
Yeah, I
I
do,
I
that
mailed my
package.
glamour shot photos because they
Mhm.
didn't have AI back then. I mailed the little magnet with a calendar attached to it to everybody that I knew, and I was like, "Ooh, I mailed all those with
You
real
did something.
stamps, put them in the mail." My sister still has my magnet, that I mailed to her 19 years
Mhm.
ago on her refrigerator. And I think back on those days and what I
Mhm.
spent money on to get my business off the ground, and how I was like, I don't know what else to do. I spent money to get my license. I spent
Mhm.
money on those magnets. I spent money on a whole bunch of stuff to sit around with my first brokerage and made $0. I never got any
Mm.
listings, no buyers, just nothing. So it was a rude awakening. Like, in the beginning, it really was. I was like, "Oh, snap. Like, what in the world did I get myself into?"
Mm.
And it wasn't even, I guess, Facebook, as a matter of fact, just to put this more into perspective, Facebook wasn't
Mhm.
even around, and then it became, like, for college students only. It didn't become available to the general public until probably about 4 years after I was already licensed. So, if people can imagine the time before social media, this was, like, in the grind days where, like, you
Yeah,
had to really try
yeah,
to get referrals from people. You had to, you
yeah,
know, do really kind of wacky, crazy stuff to market your business. And about the time that I was really kind of about to give up, I found a company that said, "Hey, we give real estate agents leads and you can work those leads from home." And I
yeah.
was like, "Okay, well,
You've done
let's
the
go
work
see."
for me. Yep,
Yeah, let's go
yep.
see. And that company, as a matter of fact, they did give us leads, but there's always a catch, right? They took the money that they spent on advertising and putting their information on Google, they basically took that out of our commission checks. So, I have a friend who's been my bestie in real estate for years, and he never went with this type of company. But he would always say to me, "Bianca, you know how much money you're giving up in commissions because you're letting these people take that money out?" And I was like, "Well, if I didn't go with this company, then I wouldn't have any leads at all because I didn't know how to generate my own leads. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
I didn't think there was any reason why I should be kind of turning my nose up at the fact that they were giving me leads, because at least I was closing deals, putting people in cars. I was
yeah.
meeting people from all over the country, and I said, "I don't care." But he said, "Bianca, you have a deal. It's $7,500. If you were with a traditional brokerage, is how much you would have gotten home." He said, "But when you're working for these people, you only brought
Yeah,
home like $2,200. You're an
yeah,
idiot for accepting that." And I was like, "But 0% of nothing is nothing, so I would
yeah,
take this." But
yeah.
once he placed that bug in my ear, I started feeling like, yeah, I am kind of dumb.
Leaving
But
money
there
on the
was
table.
no alternative, like I didn't
Yeah,
know what to do instead of that. So
yeah,
fast forward to today, obviously I know a heck of a lot more about marketing and online marketing because that's my jam. That's what I do now. But
yep,
those early days were struggle days. And
yeah.
I now when I read and listen to people in Facebook groups and stuff like that, the fact that they're still complaining about this type of stuff and it's 2023 just
Wow.
really makes me go a little bit harder for what I do in terms of trying to
Mm,
help people learn how to market themselves online. And
yeah,
it's just been the greatest ride over the last 2 years or so because I
yeah.
really kind of dug into the people that I want to help, which is other real estate agents.
Yep. And there is, I tell people all the time, if you are wanting to jump online and just talk about whatever you're interested in, there is a community for you. Don't
Yes.
sleep on your community. I saw your YouTube channel, and that's one of the reasons why I reached out to you too, because people are watching and you're giving content to where they can learn and take it and apply right away. So I just had to reach out to you. You have a tribe, you have a community there.
Thank you so much. And it's funny that you just said that. I just crossed 1,000 followers. What
Woo!
some people don't know is that's like the one first little step, so to speak, with being able to be monetized with YouTube. I don't want to turn this into let me tell you how to get monetized on YouTube, but I really have not been focusing so much on those numbers until all of a sudden I got this email and it said, "You just crossed 1,000 followers." I was like, "Oh my
Let's
goodness,
go. Let's
little
go.
old me." I was like, "Yay!" But it's like you said, it's something that I've been building for a while. What a lot of people don't know is my YouTube channel technically is like probably 10, 11 years old, but
Wow.
I was making videos about my natural hair, believe it or not, back in the
When you
day.
started. Okay,
And
okay.
I never canceled the channel. I never like deleted it. And one day I just was watching someone in our community at Digital Mentors, and we'll probably get to that in a minute, was
Mhm,
talking about, I asked her, I said, "Well, I have a whole bunch of videos out there that are like old from years ago. Do you think I should
mhm.
start a brand new channel or can I just hide those old videos?" And she was like, "Well, maybe you can just hide them." And I kind of did that because for whatever reason, I just could not let this old channel go. So I
Yeah.
basically just hid all of my old videos, just put those away. And then I just
Mhm.
picked up and started making content again. So it's not like I just over the last 2 years decided, oh, I'm going to be a creator. I've always been a creator. It was
Yep,
just that it was something else I was talking about before.
yep,
I shut the door on that
yeah,
and then started doing this, and it's been something that I know I really have been diving into, and I probably never would have crossed 1,000 followers with my old channel because it wasn't my heart wasn't in it
there
that
you
much.
go. Yep,
I was kind of
yep.
like, I see people doing it, I'm doing it, and I talk myself out of stuff a lot. I know other people do that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I kept looking back at that old content and I was like, my heart was in it, but it wasn't in it enough to keep putting content out there and keep
Yes,
putting content out there.
effortlessly. Yeah.
Right.
And so that reminds me of my next question. What is it that you really love about the real estate industry? Like, what is it about the industry that has kept you in it for 19 years?
What I love about it is really the fact that no day is the same. It's never the same with real estate. And
Okay.
I have basically been fully at home or self-employed for about 3 years now.
Mm,
And what I noticed is whatever thing is in me when I'm working a job or a 9 to 5, and this is not a 9 to 5 bashing, but it seems like every 2 years I get this itch to like, I can't
yes.
do this anymore. I'm
Yes.
like, I
I
need to get out of
understand.
corporate. And so when real estate crossed my path, I will tell you, I have inactivated my license a few times, but
Mm,
I've always stayed really close to real estate. So even over the 19 years, I'm not going to say in the entire 19 years, I've never inactivated my license and just put it on the shelf.
mhm.
But crazy enough, I've always been employed by someone who says, "Hey, do you have your real estate license?" So it was always a benefit for me when I took a break from real estate. I worked in the new construction industry for about 10 years. 7 of
Yeah.
those were on the operations side. I wasn't even selling real estate.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last 3 years I spent in new construction, I was working as a salesperson selling, new construction homes. So it's been a long, winding road, but I've always stayed close to the industry because I really like it. And when I say no day is the same, there is
Yeah.
no customers the same, no day is the same, no house is the same. And a
Mhm.
lot of people don't like that fluctuation of things, but it actually just makes it a little bit, exciting for me. It's just something that I can tell people story after story about what I've been through and what
Mhm.
clients I've helped over the last 19 years, and I just found this niche called apartment locating within the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
2
that's big on your
years.
channel. Mhm.
Yeah, and man, when I found apartment locating and it was something that I didn't have to physically go and drive and meet clients with, I started talking about that on my channel. And people have been like, "Wait, this is very interesting.
This
What
is
wait,
a thing.
right." They're like, "Wait, what is this thing?" And so then they started asking me questions about that. And like you can tell, I'm chatty child. I keep talking and talking. But it's the industry looks super, what I say, glamorous on the outside to a lot of
Mm,
people, but
mm,
it's really hard work. It
mhm,
really is, and people don't think about what real estate agents kinda go through, and I've started sharing that stuff on social media. I drop content on TikTok. I drop content in all these
mhm,
different places, not trying to be negative, but I try to give the real of, like, what real estate is really like, but also the
mhm,
positives because I
mhm,
really, really love working with people. I love helping them. I love helping them get into a place that they're gonna make memories with their families. So,
mhm,
real
mhm.
estate has just been so good to me, but
Yeah,
there have been times where I feel like we have a toxic relationship,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, "Mm."
What are some of your what's one of the biggest challenges you would say? Because just like with anything, I'm learning how to trade, so it's like ups and downs in the industry itself, right?
Right, right.
So for you, what is one of the biggest challenges?
I think one of the biggest challenges with this business overall is having a constant client base coming back to you.
Mhm.
Multiple people, when I read their comments, and it's happened to me as well, but when I read their comments, a lot of people think, "Oh, well, people ghost me," or "this person changed their mind," and all that kind of stuff. What I try to tell people is that's just the nature of this business or any business, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're going to find these periods of time where you feel like, what am I doing wrong? No one's calling me back. People are ghosting me, that whole thing. And what I tell people is you can't get too low on the lows and you can't get too high on the highs, because the way that you have to think of it is there are billions of eyeballs out there. There are billions of customers and there are billions of people.
Mhm.
You can beat yourself up every day and be like, "Man, I lost that customer," or "They didn't call me back," or, whatever the case may be. That's
Mhm.
just a part of this business. A part of it is that there are just going to be some people that you're not going to be able to help. You're not going to be able to close them or get them into a home or whatever type of niche you are in real estate. I just say you have to move on. And I've learned to do that really quickly without being like, "Oh, I'm going to spend 3 weeks so sad about this."
Yeah.
Because like I said to you, I have inactivated my license multiple times,
Mhm.
reactivated it, and sometimes I tell folks the reason why you feel that way, you might need to step away from it a little bit because this is not
Yeah.
an easy business. It's not.
Yeah.
You can make a great living and you can have, accolades here and there, but sometimes when you start feeling like, "Man, I don't know if I'm gonna want to do this another 6 months," doesn't mean you
Mhm.
need to quit. Might
Mhm.
just need to pause a little bit and go
Mhm.
find a new niche like I did. Yeah.
That's still within the same industry. So let's talk about your niche. This is big on your channel, apartment leasing. Let's talk about that. What is that? How did you find that? How are you're thriving in that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so one day I found an ad on Indeed, and ad just basically said, "Do you have your real estate license?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have my real estate license." About to glaze over it, just say forget it. But then it said, "You don't have to pay MLS fees." So who people who are not in the real estate industry, MLS just means the multiple listing service.
Mhm.
Real estate agents complain about paying those fees all the freaking time. And this is something that really caught my eye. I'm like, well, I have my real estate license. I just assumed, like with all people, you have to pay the MLS fee. And the MLS fee is just your ability to list a home or advertise a home online. And there's a piece of software that we all use, so to speak, and each, city has their own MLS.
Mhm.
And a lot of agents are like, "Well, what do I need the MLS for if I'm not listing a home, if I'm doing this and that and the other?" So, it's a fee that's just kinda like people accept it. They're like, "I have to pay whether I list houses or not." So, the fact that this company was dangling in front of me that I didn't have to pay MLS fees, I was like, "Wait, let me go see what y'all are talking about," because just like anything else nowadays, we think, "Oh, this must be some kinda scam." And
Mhm.
I went over, talked to the guy at the office, and he said, "The reason that I don't require people to pay MLS fees is because we work with apartments." And I was like, "Well, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean work with apartments?" He said, "Basically, you just help clients get approved for apartments." And I
Mhm.
thought, it can't be that easy, right? Like, what do you mean? You help people get approved for apartments? And he said, "Basically, that's it." And I said, "Well, sign me up, child." And then when he told me that I didn't necessarily have to meet with the clients at the apartments, I was like, "Hmm, okay, let's see how this goes." So I just basically decided, hey, apartment locating is going to be something that I explore, never realizing that I was going to freaking love it. So
Wow.
I got online before my paperwork was even processed. I got on TikTok, as a matter of fact, and I just dropped a video on TikTok and I said, basically, I can help you if you're wanting to move into an apartment. And if you have
Huh.
approval issues or you've ever been denied by an apartment, come see me. No biggie. I don't even think that video was 2 minutes long. And I didn't even use my own voice. I just put words on the screen. Those words popped up. And the next thing you know, my phone blew up. My inbox
What?
on social media blew up. I was talking
Wow.
to 55 people every week.
Okay. Okay.
And I was like,
Yes.
what did I do? But I did not specify that I was in Texas. So it was like everybody all over the country was like, "Can you help me? I'm in Florida and I'm in California." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I have opened up a can of worms." And from there, I have grown it online into a very specific process that I help other real estate agents through if they're
Oh, okay.
interested in apartment locating. What
Okay.
I have learned over the last 2 years is it's a great niche, and especially in states like Texas, Georgia, Arizona, but it's not super big in other areas.
Okay.
But even so, once I started talking about it, I've gotten a lot of other people's wheels turning about how they could start it if it's not really in their area and how they can adopt some of my processes, which then led me to create a course that was called Locator Boss because so many people were asking me questions when I started sharing about it on YouTube. I thought,
Mhm.
well, let me give them my business in a box so they can kind
Mhm.
of get the concept of how I do things. And
Mhm.
it's just been a beautiful, wonderful ride because apartment locating is something that I think a lot of people may have heard of or maybe kind of say, well, I don't want to deal with renters. There's some people that have this idea that they have to bully people into being buyers. But if you really think about what is it? I would say the succession or how people get into real estate, obviously, first people start with renting and then they move to buying. So it made so much sense when I was looking at how this apartment locating thing worked. Well,
Mhm.
I'll just work with someone right now. I'm not going to make them feel bad about renting because, I mean,
Mhm.
that's where everyone starts. And then if they feel like they want to buy later, then probably I will help them buy later or I can refer them to someone else. So
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful niche that I fell into that I really, really love. And to present it to other real estate agents and kind of show them step by step how I do it, they were like, oh my gosh, I never knew I could do this from home. I never knew I
Yeah.
could help people. And
Yeah.
when I released that course, I released it in April of
I was
2022
gonna ask you. Yeah.
and it has just
2022.
taken off. Yeah,
Last
it's really
year.
a
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a whole year since as a matter of fact, I released it on my sister's birthday, April 15th.
Wow.
That's how I remember it.
Mm.
And
Wow.
people have just been enrolling into it, becoming students of mine and just
Awesome.
really kind of I just been building that portion of my business and I just absolutely love it.
And so do you do mentorships within your course, or is it just they can log in, it's already done type of course?
Well, it's funny that you asked that part because originally I had thought it's just a standalone course. You just log in, you watch all the modules, and you do the work. But what
Hmm.
I noticed is people kept wanting to have me help them a little bit.
One on
And
one.
so
Hmm.
I kind of branched off and created a coaching program so that people can kind of
Oh,
get assistance from me in addition to just logging into a course. So
yep.
I kind of have this thing where now I say it's sort of choose your own adventure.
Hmm.
Do you want to just do the standalone course? Because 'Cause I'm
Hmm.
that personality. If I purchase a course,
Me too.
I'm gonna log
Hmm.
in. If the button says click here, I'm gonna click there and I'm going to do it because that's just the kind of person I am. But I know
Yeah.
everyone is not like that.
Right. Hmm.
So once people started saying, "Well, can I just get some additional coaching from you?" I was like, "Hmm." So I incorporated a little bit on the front end. So
Hmm.
basically, if someone says, "Hey, I want to purchase your course," I do give them 2 complimentary 1-hour sessions with me, and then beyond that, if they want more hand holding, I'm like, okay, well, you just need to go ahead and enroll in my course, my coaching. Cause I just talked to someone yesterday and she had me cracking up laughing. She says, Bianca, I know I'm not going to just log in and watch the pre recorded videos and do everything. She was like, I want to
Really?
hold your hand. I want to come to Houston and sit down and we set my system up. And I was like, child, let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
I
it's like I
love
said,
that.
I'm
I
open
love that.
to helping people, so I was like there was no way I was gonna say, "Nah, you just the only thing you can do is buy my pre-recorded course and go through it."
Hmm.
Coaching and mentoring people is something that I've basically been doing since 2006. So, it was
Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
progression for people to say, "Well, can I just have you?" I'm like, "Sure, you could have me for a nominal fee."
You are a business owner. Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
right.
How,
Exactly.
well, what are some of the success stories from some of your students?
Well, one of my students, one of my my favorite ones, I should say, is she was very shy about doing video. And I basically just gave her a couple of little tweaks because she says I'm not really getting any leads. The very first tweak that she did was she put some content out there and she said some of what I told her would draw business to her. She immediately got like 10 people, right, ready to go. They were
Wow.
like, "Oh my god, yeah, I need you. I need you." So, I have had multiple people have a what I would say a hurdle over just posting content at all or
Yep.
posting any videos. They run to my inbox and like, "Bianca, I posted what you said and I immediately got some leads." And I'm
Yep.
like, "Congratulations. Let's keep it going. Don't, fade to black," because that's what a lot of people do. They start getting a little bit of stuff and then they go, "Okay, I'm scared. I don't wanna do it anymore." I've had people reach out to me. There was a guy, he didn't know that what I was imparting to him was something that was gonna, I guess, give him some confidence, so to speak.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he sent me this glowing review, and he was like, "Bianca, I'm so happy I met you. You really
Wow.
kind of pushed me to get out of my comfort zone."
That's what
Now
it's
when
about.
I go and I look at his content, I'm like, "Oh, he's doing the dang thing." All he needed was, like, just a little bit of a push from me to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
"I can do this." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just
Hmm.
like, I didn't realize how many people that I would affect, how many people who would be like, "Oh, you inspire me to post about my business," because again, I can run my mouth, but when I'm chatting with people, I'm trying to help them understand that the bulk of what I do, to be honest with you, is not a lot of technical stuff. I do have a system set up with digital mentors where people can become
We're gonna talk.
leads.
Yep. We're gonna talk about that. Hmm.
But the start of it, like the beginning, is you. You're the person who you're the driver of your business. You're the one that people are going to see. So I've been really encouraging some people because I did not know this many people in real estate would say, I can't do a video. And I'm like,
Wow.
you can't do a 30-second video? You
Hmm.
can't do a 1-minute video? Come on, you can do it. And then once they get that hurdle and they're like, "Oh, I can do this," and they see that it results in people reaching out and wanting to work with them, they're like, "Bianca, you kind of blessed me with the fact that I was trying to hide," because in our industry, most people pay for leads. They pay for them
Yes,
or they
ma'am.
try to get them from their broker. And so
Yep.
when I show them that, you know what, you can get your own leads right here from social media, they're always astounded. They're like, "Oh, okay," because none of the systems, the software, none of that stuff is gonna work if you don't wanna just step out and become the face of your business. So I always tell people,
That's good. That's
try,
good.
just try. Put
Mhm,
your toe out there a little bit. I'm
mhm.
not saying you gotta pop lock on TikTok because I tell people you don't have to do that because I don't dance. I don't dance on social media. I always say, folks, if you see me dancing on social media, you need to call the police because I have been
It's not
up
gonna happen.
something. It's not going to happen. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you definitely have I love your look also on social media. You always have a different lipstick. Like you can wear any color.
Thank
So
you.
you're going to attract people from there. Of course, the natural hair, it's funny. And then your expertise, right? You are
Yes.
so non-traditional. And I say that because yes, social media is becoming the norm, but based on what you just said, it's still a non-traditional way of attracting people, but it's a warm market. Like,
Yes.
why wouldn't you want to learn about your
Right.
warm market? So let's talk about digital mentors. We love this community. This is, it's a way for you to learn how to attract people to your business. Again, it's warm leads. So warm leads convert. When you first got exposed to digital mentors, was the course even a thought for you? Or how did that course come to be from digital mentors?
Well, what I can say is I've always known since 2014, I'll say that I was going to create a course at some point, but I didn't know what that course was going to be about. Some of my favorite online sheroes have given courses, and
Yes.
I just knew one day I would, but I didn't know what it would be about. And once I joined the digital mentors team or the community or whatever, in the beginning, I was like, they're teaching online marketing, but I'm not sure what I should be doing with this information yet. And so every time I joined a webinar, every time I kind of logged in, those wheels kept turning in my head like, what am I supposed to be doing with this information that they are teaching? And full disclosure, at the time, they were teaching a market that is different from real estate. So they were teaching people who are in the network marketing industry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a network marketing product. I really wasn't into that industry at all. But I said, I see what they're saying. I get what they're saying. And once I started to understand what they were teaching, and my business blew up from using the principles that they teach, which is make sure you go out on social media, make your presence, they call it BES, build your audience, engage with your audience, sell with your audience. It wasn't until about a year after I had gone into their program and I started learning how to really be a marketer that light bulb came into my head about creating Locator Boss because I said to myself, I basically took entirely different industry that they weren't really coaching people on, and I used the same principles that they teach to build my real estate business. And I remember the day I called my sister on the phone and I got goosebumps telling her, I think what I'm supposed to do next is create a course. So it wasn't like Digital Mentor said, Bianca Roberts, you need to go ahead and create a course. It was just being around the community, getting success, marketing my business with what they taught me. It literally just kind of hit me like a little jolt of lightning, I'd say. And I was like, I'm supposed to create a course and
Yeah.
I'm supposed to share this with other people and teach them how to build an apartment locating business.
Mhm.
And as soon as I said that, I even had like a little tear drop in my eye to my sister. I was like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing next. And she was like, okay, girl, let's do it. She said, when can you retire me? I'm ready. She's like, when am I gonna be put on the payroll? And
Yes.
it's just being in their community, absorbing like what they've been teaching me. They just I always say this, they tricked me into becoming the leader that I've always
Mm,
been.
mm,
And I just didn't know that it
mm.
was going to take me down this path. I already knew that, I was going to be creating a course at one point. I already knew there's certain things that I knew in my heart,
Yeah.
but I didn't
Yeah.
know how to get there. I didn't know
How?
what I was supposed to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Digital mentors came into my life and I said, okay,
This is
yeah,
it.
this is
Yep.
it.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, I'm actually going to do some videos on this at a later time. But I before I joined, I just wanted to create a course. So I tried Teachable, was paying for the platform, started creating courses, and then I found them with their pricing and then all that they offer. I said, this is unreal. People are charging $400 a month, but you guys start at,
Yes.
right now it's 49, so and it just goes up from there. Even their most expensive package still is cheaper than you get a
Yes.
whole, so that is a whole nother, so yes, I can see you're thriving with your course, but you also have a strong system to be able to manage where your students can go in, and it's tailored to you. They have their own login. Like, they make it so easy, so professional.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
beautiful thing. So are your students using their platforms now too?
Yes. So the way that I basically teach them is that at the
Mhm.
very minimum on social media, you're going to need a capture page or a place for people to enter their information to become a lead. So my natural progression or my natural recommendation to them is just go ahead and use this system. You can create those leads using this, and it's only $49 a month. Like I said, most real estate agents that I come across are spending $500 or more
There
a
you go.
month
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to get leads. So here I come with my little cookie. Hey, I'm trying to teach you lead generation. And, my side thing, so to speak, is, apartment locating.
Apartment
I just
locator.
merged those two things together and I said, just use this system so that you can create your own lead funnels. And because digital mentors are so dope, what they allow me to do is copy and paste my lead generation funnels and give them to my students. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
include that inside of the course. Now, the the draw to that is a lot of people won't fall in love with marketing kind of the way that I do.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you're the person you're just like, I don't want to learn all of these things, I just want to get some leads, I present it to them. Like I say, it's a business in a box. And I say, copy these code, paste it into your own digital mentors account, and it populates my funnels for them. If this software I know is probably really close to getting another update or another change. That's what I heard from the grapevine. But right now it's so affordable to be able to set up a lead capture system just using what they have. So I host my courses inside of their software.
Yep. Yep.
I recommend it to my students. I say, use this piece of software because in our industry, we're used to paying 500, 600, $1,000 or more a month
Yep.
just to get leads. And I'm over
Yep.
here saying, hey, honey, you don't have to spend that much to get leads. You set up this piece of software, use it monthly, and I will teach you how to build your presence so that people come to you and want to basically, hire you.
Yes. Yes. And can you take us through just a typical, what does it look like to create a marketing campaign and generate a lead? So for anybody who's watching right now who is a real estate agent and they just don't know, what does that even look like?
So basically, what I start with is just a basic funnel. So a funnel or a lead capture page that basically, when someone comes across my client, my content or whatever, and they want to think about becoming a potential client, that doesn't mean they're going to do that immediately. I basically show them on screen. As this is one of the funnels that I use for apartment locating, and
Okay.
it's
It's coming
very
up now.
straightforward. So the
Hmm.
way that this whole process works is I drop content on social media,
Hmm.
and then when people go to my bio on any particular profile, then they'll see this page. And
Okay.
this
It just
page
came up.
comes up and
Hmm.
it says free guide. So this one, for example, is for someone who wants to be an apartment locator. And all they do is put their information in and then they become a lead. I do the same process for people who want to rent apartments. So I'm going to show you another one really quickly on my
Wow.
page.
And so,
It
like you said, if your students they're like, I'm not sitting down to create, even though they have done for you funnels, you actually give your students your done for you funnel and they don't have to create anything. They just plug and play pretty much.
right.
There we go. Yeah.
So, like this one, it says use my free apartment search tool. They put their information in, and these are for people who are searching for apartments, like they want to rent an apartment.
That is
I put
awesome.
some bullet points here. This is
Mhm.
all something that because of the software, it allows me to basically copy and paste this and give it to someone. So if they were a real estate agent focusing on apartment locating, they could get this particular funnel. And
Mhm.
even at the bottom, I have this is all a template inside of the software that lets people see, hey, she's working with clients. These are what some of my clients are saying. And all of this is automated. So if someone puts their information in, then boom, they put their email address in, and then I end up following up with them. The software pieces I love in digital mentors, but again, I'm going to take it back to overall. Um, they just get my system with the software, but the driver of all of this is putting out content. So those 2 funnels that I showed you or those 2 capture pages are inside of the digital mentor software. The whole process is you get on social media, you say, "Hi, Mr. Customer. These are the people that I want to work with." Their eyeballs come across their content, and then they click on that and they become a lead. And in the back end, I basically continue to nurture those leads until they're
Yeah.
ready to schedule an appointment with me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's really it's like a 1, 2, 3 thing. I actually have a formula. I call it, DCG. I say D is decide. Decide who are the customers that you wanna work with. In my instance, I decided that I wanted to work with apartment people, so people who want to rent. Then the C is I create content for those people. So those particular folks have a different mindset or they have different things that they're working on versus someone who's going to list a home for sale, versus someone who is wanting to buy for the first time, versus someone who wants to move up. So I decided I want to work with apartments. I see is create the content just for those particular customers. And then G is I give them something for free. So the giving
Mhm.
them something for free is that, capture page or that funnel that I showed you where they're getting my free apartment search guide and they get like a little PDF that tells them like what to do when they get ready to move to the state of Texas. So that's my formula, DCG. Just
Mhm.
like Digital Mentors has their own formula, BES.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the formula
Mhm.
that I created. So that's really the machine that keeps all of this going. Is I'm very clear on who I want to work with because a
Mhm.
lot of people, and it's not just the real estate industry, but a lot of people just think, well, I'm supposed to help everyone.
Mhm.
So I try to help my students get to the core of like, what kind of business do you like? What lights you up? Who do you want to work with? If you want to work with people who are first time buyers, then we're going to work with making content for folks that are first time buyers. If you want to work with people who, I don't know, have Victorian homes for sale. Believe it or not, you could be that specific and say, I'm the Victorian home specialist. A lot of people kind of push back on that and they're like,
Right.
oh, but because the internet is so big, so wide, so huge, you have to kind of stand out by saying, hey, I want to help these folks.
Mhm.
Does that mean that you'll never get anybody else to say, "Well, do you only help people with Victorian homes?" There are going to be people that will reach out to you that are not that specific with their needs. But
Mhm.
because you stand out, they see you at the top of other people. I have people all the time that ask me, "Well, Miss Bianca, I know you say you only help people who want to rent apartments, but can you help me buy a house if I want to buy a house later on?" And I'm like, okay, it's up to me to decide whether I do or do not. I can refer them out to someone else, or I can say, sure, child, I'll help you. Come on, let's go. So that's like my whole process. And again, digital mentors help me articulate what my process is because it's one thing to preach to people on social media all the time and say, you need to have a lead funnel, or you need to have a capture page, or you need to have all this stuff. But if they can't put it into perspective on how that's going to fit into their business, then they won't be able to kind of understand what to do. So I try to chunk it down into little steps. So yeah, the software is cool. I love all of that. But at the end of the day, the driving force behind of it is going to start with you. and you put out the content, and then those breadcrumbs keep building and people keep grabbing onto them, and that's how they become leads for you.
What is your seminars gonna look like? I can already see it. I just can see it. It's already kind of building up to that, sponsorships, all that for you. So what would a seminar in Texas or wherever you wanna have them, what would that look like for you?
I think what it would look like for me is having a lot of specialists in different niches in real estate come and kind of be like on a panel with
Mm.
me.
Ooh, okay.
And I could be like, "Hey, I'm the lead generation lady, but let me also introduce you to people who've really been able to carve out a niche for themselves." So, I'm technically the apartment locating lady. Like, people are like, "Oh, yeah, that's the lady who does apartments." But I would love to have a panel of people where someone's a commercial real estate agent, where someone focuses on a specific type of architecture like mid-century modern. Maybe somebody is the 55 and up senior community specialist. Like, there are a lot of different niches
Mm.
inside of real estate where people can get what I call inspired to pick their lane, so to speak. Because a
Mhm.
lot of people in our industry get overwhelmed with how do I pick what my niche is, you know?
Right,
And I
right.
get it. When you start off, you're like, I don't know what I like. I don't know if I like listings yet. I don't know if I like buyers. There's a lot of flux when it comes in where you're like bombarded with information. It's kind of like trying to drink from a water hose. It's just spraying on you and like, I don't know what
Mhm,
to do. I would
mhm.
love to have a panel where I can kind of just introduce people to different segments and then they'll be like, "Oh, I think this is the lane that I wanna go to." Doesn't
Yeah,
mean that you will never change later or you might who knows, 5 years from now, you might come and see and I might be doing commercial real estate, but
yeah,
I tell
yeah.
people the easiest, fastest, least resistance is when you really pick a spot that you really, really love, and obviously, I love lead generation. I love coaching and mentoring, that's why I can't stop talking about it, and so I always say, choose the path that is driving to what you really want to do. And once people, especially in the real estate agency or industry, once they really kind of get the idea that I'm trying to help them pick their lane and really kind of run with it, that's when it starts to get super fun. Like this business is super fun for me. And it wasn't years ago because I didn't
Mhm.
know who I was. I didn't know what my identity was. I didn't know what I was supposed to
Mm,
be doing.
that's key.
And
Mhm,
it's
mhm,
so key. It is
mhm,
so key. It doesn't matter what industry it is. If you
mhm.
don't know, like, every day, I don't have to get up and think, "Oh gosh, what am I gonna post today?" Or "Should I post this or should I?" I just do. Sometimes I'm literally inspired by seeing someone else's thing, has nothing to do with my industry at all, and I'll just pop a post up real quick. I've had multiple posts go viral on TikTok where I'm like in my robe that my grandma bought me. I'm not saying that that's my whole identity and that I every post that I'm going to put up is in my robe, but one morning I got inspired and I just opened up my phone and I made a quick video at 6 o'clock in the morning about new construction. That thing went viral. And I was
Wow,
just being myself, just
love it.
being helpful,
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
people, some tips about new construction, and they were like, "This is the most helpful information that I have gotten from a real estate agent ever." I've got
Wow.
thousands of comments on my videos where I'm just kind of giving of myself in a way that just feels right and feels natural to me. A lot of
Mhm.
people think I'm an extrovert. I am not an extrovert. I am literally the person, like, when I get ready to go into an event, I have to count down to myself and I have to say, "Okay, go into the event." My palms are all sweating. I'm standing in the restroom like, "Okay, you can do it. Go ahead, get out of your car." Like, I literally am
Mhm,
not the person that would be always standing in front of the room, but I push
mhm,
myself, and
mhm.
every time I push myself to go a little bit beyond, it turns out, like, really great for me. So,
Amazing,
just like you reaching out
amazing.
to me, I could have been like, "No, I'm not gonna do this." I'm like, I say yes. I'm just to I say this is like the year of yes. I just embrace yes, and I
Yes, Shonda Rhimes wrote a book about that. Yeah, and look at what
yes,
happened with her.
right, right,
Look at what's
exactly.
happening with you.
Right. So, it's yeah, it's been a wild ride. I just really I
Mhm,
mean, people can tell that I love what I'm doing because
mhm,
I just remember being in that space. I remember saying to myself, "I don't know why I got my license," or "I don't know why I spent all this money." And
mm,
when I read these
mhm,
comments in these groups that I'm a part of, they just tear me up because I know what that feels like to be like, I don't know where to get a lead. I know what it feels like to have someone that's really close to you kind of make fun of you and say, "Oh, how's
mhm.
your hobby doing?"
Oh, yeah.
I know what those kind of things feel like, and
Mhm,
I know that in this season of life, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing
mhm,
for sure.
mhm. Awesome, and it shows. And then I do have another question.
Go ahead.
Um, who do you follow in the real estate industry? Who are some of the people that you may not have even met, but they just speak to you like every time, or is it seasonally?
It might be seasonally because I'm not even gonna make up a lie. Like I have somebody's name that I could think of off the top of my head. I know I'm a part of a lot of groups that have thousands of members in them, but I know this is gonna sound really kind of funky a little bit. But I try not to follow a lot of people in my industry to have them taint my ideas, so to speak. I think
Mhm,
some of the reasons why, for example, I've done Locator Boss and some of the things that come out of my mouth are not from things that I've heard other people say. It's not from AI. I have a very, like, focused kind of funnel, just like a tunnel vision is the best way I could describe it. And so when I get on social media, I try not to follow a lot of people that I think are, like, doing, better than me or they're teaching real estate agents too. It's only because that filters into me and it can get you this is the best way I can say it. It's like squirrel. Like, "Oh, look what they're
yep,
saying," or "Look what
yep.
they're doing."
That's real,
And
Bianca. That's so real. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
yeah, because once I kinda got that concept, I used to be very into like, "Oh, let me look at this person, let me look at that person." And once I started developing as a leader myself, I kinda just started taking off those eyeballs, and I was like, "This is what I'm doing." Because you can get so bogged down in, like, following what other people are doing and what other courses they have out and things like that. I
Mhm,
have a tribe that I'm building, and they come and run and tell me, "Oh, this person is doing this and that person is doing this." And if I don't keep my blinders on and doing
mhm,
what I'm doing, I can
mhm,
get distracted by what I see other people doing, and
mhm.
I think that translates into some of the content and some of the things that I deliver. I've heard from other people say, "Oh, this person said something similar as well." And I'm like, "Technically, if you really wanna know the truth, I've been saying the same thing over and over again in a different way for the last
Mhm.
9 years." It's only the last 2 years that I decided to focus just on real estate agents. Because I used to be like, anybody who needs help with real estate I mean, not real estate, anybody who helps
Needs a
needs
house
with
or
with leads, I can help
mhm,
you. And
mhm.
when I was in that muddy water of anybody, nobody was really paying attention. And then
Wow.
once I got out of the muddy water of anybody and I just started focusing on real estate, that's when stuff starts to take off for me. So I know that's a long way to answer. I really don't know much of anybody that's in my industry or teaching lead generations or teaching real estate agents because it kind of sounds a little kind of arrogant. Like I follow myself. I don't follow nobody else, but
I completely
I
understand
really
what you're
honestly
saying.
can't yeah, and I
Mhm,
hope I'm saying it or expressing it correctly. It's
mhm,
not like I don't have a rock star person that I think, "Oh, they are somebody
mhm,
that, I follow, so to speak, that's in my
mhm,
industry." It's just
mhm, mhm.
I mean, I keep
You know you.
my real estate, hat on when I'm dropping content, and I'm
Yep,
never kind of deferring back to something that I heard someone else say because that's when it starts to get um, a little boring for me. And so
yep,
that's why I told you the other day I was in my well not the other day, but I was in my robe giving some tips. It's because
mhm.
I got inspired that day
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm going to give a tip." I don't
Yep.
have a script. I don't have someone that I'm like looking to direct me on whatever I say. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Now you gotta have me like try to find some people later on, look up some folks and be like, oh yeah. Because there was somebody who told me that I reminded them of some lady a while back, and I was like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, you got like you're so polished," and I'm like, "Really? I'm polished?" Okay. I was like, "Thank you, appreciate you.
I'll
Think I look
take
like that,
it.
right?" Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I do a lot of reading. So for me, it's seasonally. I may be reading this or watching this, and then I'll drop that and move on because that's just the way, I'm wired. So I totally
right.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm into self improvement. I read,
Mm-hmm.
I listen to blogs. Heck,
Mm-hmm.
I come to the digital mentors wake up call and I do that all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm constantly being fed with good information in my brain. I just try not to the best way I could say is it's cool to be a copycat as long as you're copying the right cat. And so right now I'm not copying anybody. I'm just doing my thing.
Mm-hmm.
My friend
Mm-hmm.
Sean, that's what I think he says that all the time. Sean Johnson, he's a part of the Digital
Yeah,
Mentors
I know him.
community.
My
Yeah.
husband, yeah, they know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I love Sean. I so many
Yeah.
people that are in this community that I
Yeah.
really really adore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so maybe I should say all of my digital
Digital mentor
mentors,
family.
trainings and team members, all of those people. I love all of them. Those are the people I follow.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
Bianca, is there anything else that you want to share with the community? Anybody who's interested in coming into real estate or anything you feel like you want to share? This was so good.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to share and I just want to say this. If you feel as though you're not good enough, you're whatever this thing is that you might be holding you back, let it go. The
Mm,
the only way that you're going to be able to get to where you want to be and kind of fulfill your dreams is letting go of all those things that tell you you can't because you can. You can.
yes,
That's
ma'am.
really it. As soon as
Yes,
you
ma'am.
drop those ideas that you can't do it and you're cuz I'll say that a lot of people that I've talked to, basically over the last 18 months, I've had a lot of conversations with just real estate agents, and it
Hmm.
just baffles me about how much they feel they're not good enough. How much they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, well, you can do a video because that's you," or "You can do this because your nose looks like this, or your hair looks like this, or
Hmm.
your whatever."
Hmm.
And I'm like, I get up each day and I like dissect myself too. I look at my hooded eyes. I look at my skin
Hmm.
tags. I look at my non-perfect teeth. But
Hmm.
that's not going to hinder
Hmm.
me from opening up my phone and making a video that could potentially change somebody's life.
That's
They
wow.
might be
Wow.
looking for you. And I always say that somebody is looking for you. And as soon as they hear your voice, it's like a baby hearing their mom's voice for the first time. They'll look at you on social media and they'll be like, I can do that too. A lot of people down social media and they say, oh, I don't want to be on social media and none of this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. But I feel like it's a gift because it didn't exist before. So when it didn't
Yes.
exist before, nobody would even know Bianca. I wouldn't be able to have a video that has 300,000 views on it that's only a minute long
Wow.
because it never existed. If it would not exist if I was sitting back here
Mm-hmm.
in my home office, scared to do anything, never come out and say, "Hey, I'm Bianca, I can help you do this." I just I know I'm a little chatty and I run my mouth, but this is some of the thing I always think about is like, what would this world look like if you didn't say, Bianca, hey, I want to interview you? What would this
Hmm.
world look like if digital mentors never, got the courage to create their company? Like every single thing that happens is a domino effect from somebody who just took a chance and said, I'm going to do it. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. You're gonna be scared. Your palms are gonna be sweaty. You're gonna be like, I need some water. Like you're gonna
Hmm.
have to get over that. And once you get over that and you let yourself be the bright, beautiful person that you are, you
Hmm.
will never ever go back. You'll be like, man, I'm gonna keep writing this and keep
Yes.
going forward. So that's
Yes.
that's my tip. Just stop being afraid.
Bianca, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
When I pull up my subscriptions, I'm subscribed to your channel, so I get to see all your content. I'm like, okay, I'm learning, and I'm not in the industry. I've tried investing before, and still a
Yeah,
goal of mine's. But yeah, I still watch because it's still information that I can take. Even through this interview, there's so much
yeah,
that I rewatch them. So there's so
yeah.
much I'm still gonna, be able to take from this, and I'm not even in the industry. So even more so, people who are watching who are in the industry, but
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
the gift of you. Thank you,
Well,
Bianca.
thank you so much, and I really appreciate you inviting me out.